Islanders. Are you looking for a favorite episode? You'll find it on patreon.com/Ahway Island. That's patreon.com/Ahway Island. Our Patreon members get access to our library of past episodes, plus extra exclusive stories just for patrons. And now, let's relax.
Hello, Ahway Islanders. We're so glad you're here. Let's see if you have everything you want to be calm on Ahway Island. Are the lights in your room dim or off? Do you have your favorite blanket or listening buddy? Before we begin our story, let's relax by taking a nice deep dragon breath. Breathe in through your nose, filling up your lungs, and then out through your mouth, imagining you are breathing fire like a dragon. Ready? Deep breath in and out. Good job. Today, we're going to relax our entire bodies. First, wiggle all your toes, and then squeeze your toes together and relax them. Then, lift your leg up just a little and let it float down. Now lift your other leg just a little and let it float down. Let's take another deep dragon breath in and out. Next, squeeze both your hands into tight fists and then release them. As you relax your hands, reach your arms around your chest and give yourself a big hug. And release. Now, make a very grumpy face. Squeeze your eyes shut. Squinch up your mouth and hold that grumpy face. And let it go. Now your whole body is relaxed. So let's take one final deep dragon breath in and out. Great job, everyone. I hope you are tucked in nice and cozy. We're ready to begin our story. Let's be calm on Ahway Island. Our story today is Garden Friends. The morning sun peeked over the horizon, spreading warm, golden light across Ahway Island. Fionn the dandelion seed had been planted and was just now beginning to grow. As he stretched out of the ground, he felt the gentle embrace of the soil and the welcoming rays of the sun. Fionn looked around, curious to find out where he had ended up after his journey drifting through the sky. The little dandelion found himself in a beautiful garden surrounded by colorful flowers, buzzing bees, and fluttering butterflies. The air was filled with the sweet fragrance of blooming blossoms, and the garden seemed to be brimming with life. But what drew Finn's attention the most was something sitting on the ground right next to where he was growing. A ceramic figure nestled in the grass. It was a little garden gnome, squat and round, with a jolly, smiling face. The gnome wore a blue dress and a pointy red hat, and she stood with one hand on her waist and the other held out, as if to welcome everyone who entered the garden. "Hello there, sleepyhead," the gnome said warmly. "Welcome to our little patch of paradise." Finn smiled back, feeling grateful for such a friendly greeting. "Hello. Thank you for the warm welcome," Finn said. "It's beautiful here." The gnome smiled at Finn's observation. "Isn't it just?" she said. "It's my job to watch over all the plants and creatures that call this garden home. I'm Gertie, by the way, the guardian of the garden. I watch over the plants and animals here." The little sprout introduced himself. "I'm Finn. It's very nice to meet you, Gertie," he said. Gertie beamed. "It's wonderful to meet you, Finn," she said. "Well, go on. Tell me all about your journey. How did a tiny dandelion like you end up in our garden?" Finn shared his adventure, recounting how he had drifted through the forest, caught a ride on a squirrel's back, and finally floated down a stream on a leaf. He explained how he had felt both scared and excited by the journey, and how he had learned to embrace the adventure and see where it would take him. Gertie listened intently, nodding and smiling at all the right moments. "My goodness, Finn," she said once he finished. "You've certainly had a whirlwind of a journey. It's amazing how a tiny seed can travel so far." Gertie then went on to tell Finn all about the garden. "I've been here for many, many years," she explained, "and I've seen all sorts of things. Plants sprouting, flowers blooming, butterflies emerging from their chrysalis. It's a never-ending cycle of life. There are so many interesting stories here." Finn was fascinated. "This place sounds wonderful," he said. "I'd love to hear more about the garden and the creatures that live here." Over the next few days, Gertie showed Finn all the activity in the garden, observing the busy world around them. They watched lines of ants diligently carrying crumbs 10 times their size back to their tunnels. They listened to the melodic songs of robins perched on the branches of nearby trees. They saw bees bustling about, floating from flower to flower, collecting nectar for their hives. And as the days passed, Finn began to change. He could feel himself growing taller, reaching towards the sky with each passing moment. He was nearly up to Gertie's outstretched hand. Then, one day, a tiny yellow petal emerged from the top of his stem. "Well, look at you, Finn," Gertie exclaimed. "You're growing up so fast. Soon you'll be a beautiful flower yourself, just like your neighbors." The yellow petals continued to unfurl as Finn grew. One sunny afternoon, a kind woman with a gentle smile entered the garden. She carried a basket filled with tools and wore a wide-brimmed hat that cast a shadow over her eyes. As the woman walked between the vibrant flowers, humming a happy tune, she stopped and knelt down next to a garden bed across from Fionn and Gertie. Fionn felt a momentary shiver of nervousness. The woman's presence was large and unfamiliar. He watched her closely as she reached out a hand to brush away a stray leaf from a nearby flower. "That's the gardener," explained Gertie. "She takes care of all the flowers here, making sure they grow big and tall, just like you'll be soon." Fionn felt a wave of relief wash over him. A caretaker. That didn't sound bad at all. The woman continued to hum her happy tune as she pruned a rose bush and watered a patch of pansies. But soon, the gardener's eyes fell on Fionn. She approached and knelt down to get a better look at the newly flowering dandelion. She reached a hand out to touch Fionn, tilting her head in consideration. Fionn wondered for a moment whether she was going to pluck him straight from the ground. He braced himself, unsure of what to expect. The gardener's eyes darted from Fionn to Gertie, and then back to Fionn. "It almost looks like the little gnome is giving this dandelion a hug," she murmured to herself. The woman seemed lost in thought for a moment, her finger tapping thoughtfully on her chin. Then she smiled and gently lowered her hand. "Well, if Gertie is protecting you, I'll let you grow here, little one. You two seem happy." As the gardener stood up to resume tending to the rest of the flowers, Fionn let out a sigh of relief he didn't even know he was holding. He looked up at Gertie, who looked at him with a knowing smile. "See, Fionn, you belong here," Gertie said cheerfully. "This garden is your home now." Fionn looked up at Gertie with gratitude. "Thank you, Gertie, for being so welcoming to me," he said. "I feel so lucky to have found a place where I belong." Gertie smiled warmly. "Of course, Fionn. It's important to make sure new members of the community feel welcomed so they can join in and grow with us. We're all a part of this garden, and it wouldn't be the same without you." As the sun began to set and fireflies began to dance in the garden, Fionn felt a gentle drowsiness start to wash over him. The day's excitement and the comforting presence of Gertie made him feel safe and content. He could hear the soft chirping of crickets and the gentle rustling of leaves as a cool evening breeze whispered through the garden. Gertie noticed Finn's petals drooping slightly. "It looks like it's time for us to rest, Fionn," she said softly. "Even the busiest gardens need their sleep to be ready for another beautiful day." Fionn took a big yawn as he prepared to rest for the night. He thought back again about the day he had and all the things he was grateful for. Fionn was grateful for Gertie, whose friendship had made him feel welcome and safe. He took a deep dragon breath in and out. closed his eyes and felt grateful for the garden, a place of beauty and peace, where he could grow big and bright. He took another deep dragon breath, in and out. Finally, Fionn was grateful for the gardener, who had let him stay and grow. He took one last deep dragon breath, in and out. And drifted off to sleep, dreaming about learning more about the garden with Gertie. Thank you for joining us to Be Calm on Ahway Island. See you next time.